Hello, everybody. This is the Chocolate News Podcast. This week's podcast is sponsored by the Ohio Lottery. Keep it fun, Ohio. Play responsibly. I'm your co-host, John Alexander Reese. And if you didn't know, the Cincinnati Herald has been around since 1955 and is the leading African-American owned newspaper in the greater Cincinnati area and northern Kentucky area. And today we have with us our digital correspondent, Andrea Carter. How's it going, Andrea?
Fine, John. How are you today?
I am doing just fine. So, Andrea, what is the chocolate news of the week?
The chocolate news this week has been a little sad because we've lost several icons. Well, I'll put it like this: we've lost three icons to the Black community. We've had one entertainment legend apologize, who's probably smarting from the act that he did. And then we have one musician, our musical legend, release her new album, and oh my God. So, this is very exciting chocolate news this week. So I'll get started. First up, of one of the legends that we lost is Mary Alice. And I don't think when her death was announced, not a lot of people really recognized her. But I think everyone would recognize Mary Alice because she was the Oracle in Matrix Revolution. And if anyone remembers Matrix and the Oracle, she was a wise woman, very thoughtful. She told her truth in a very unique way. And that was the Oracle in Matrix. But Mary Alice, she has this, she was an award-winning actress. She's won both a Tony and an Emmy. She starred in some original Broadway productions of Fences. She was one of the three singing daughters in Sparkle, and I'm talking about the original Sparkle in the movies. And but I think really truly starred in other movies like Awakenings with Penny Marshall and Robert De Niro with Robin Williams. She was in Charles Burnett's To Sleep with Anger. She was in Brian De Palma's The Bonfire of the Vanities. But I think the most outside of the Matrix that she's well known for is A Different World. She started in the early seasons of A Different World. And if anyone remembers that, you'll know who I'm talking about. She was also in I'll Fly Away. And she also played Oprah Winfrey's mother in The Women of Brewster Place. I'm going way back now when I mentioned The Women of Brewster Place, really way back. And Sparkle was in the 70s. So I'm dating, but if anyone who watched Irene Cara and Lynette McKee and Dwan Smith, you saw Mary Alice in that role as Effie. So I'm very sad to hear that she died, but she was a wonderful actress and she'll be forever missed.
It's always sad when we lose a character actor, though.
Oh yeah, because anyone who can play a good character actor, they're the support that a leading actor leans on to have a good performance. And she will be very, very, very missed. Next up that we lost, for those in the Trekkie world, Nichelle Nichols, Lieutenant Uhura. Oh my God. She broke the path for Black women in the TV industry. She was the first Black woman to kiss a white man on television. She kissed Captain Kirk. I don't know how well anybody wants to kiss Captain Kirk, but she did. I mean, but you have to admit, Captain Kirk at that time, he was portrayed by
William Shatner.
Thank you. I can't believe I forgot William Shatner's name.
James Tiberius Kirk. Yeah.
Yes. You know what? I think my problem is William Shatner for me will always be William T. Kirk. Yeah. And even though we've had other versions since then with other Star Trek movies, but William Shatner, to me, is Captain Kirk. Yeah. But the dynamic that Lieutenant Uhura had with Captain Kirk was special, especially in not so much in the TV series, but in the movies. There was more of a great dynamic that Shatner had with all of the cast in Star Trek, in the Star Trek movies. And it was also a little bit more of a comedy at times as well. Right. Her. So I think it was wonderful. It's kind of sad that she did die of natural causes. And she was known, she did other TV appearances, but she was very well known at the Star Trek conventions. And I'm just sorry to see her go, because she plowed the way for women in Star Trek, no matter what.
Yeah,
Losing her.
it's sad that we're losing our original Star Trek crew. Another one. Now all we have now is George Takei, and I believe well, we still got Bill Shatner, so that's good. But they're dying, man. That's it's
Oh
real
yeah,
sad.
you know what? You're right. That's all
Yeah.
who's left. Oh my
Yeah, I
gosh.
think it's just Bill Shatner, George Takei, and Walter Koenig. I think. Yeah, I believe so. There might be a couple other people I'm not remembering, but yeah, they're
But I mean, in terms of the core cast,
yeah the core. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Because
Oh man.
I think the last one was I believe Leonard Nimoy. He passed away in like 2016, I think, or
Oh yes. Oh, I
yeah,
was so sad when that happened.
yeah,
No longer will someone part their fingers and you'll live long and prosper.
yeah,
So, you know.
yeah,
Um, and then for our sports fans, this really hurt. Bill Russell died.
yeah.
Um, he is the best role model of any basketball player should emulate, is Bill Russell. He was a man with a plan. He played a great game. He spoke his truth, but not only did he speak his truth, he marched for it. He always had some good comments, some good truth to tell, and he was not afraid of standing up for what is right and what is dignified. And they say he was always uncompromising. He always gave constructive comments, and he stuck to his principles. And in the end, he never wavered from what is right. And he played a mean game on the court. I mean, I know we got our greats, but I think he could give our today's greats a run for the money if he could play again. Woo!
Yeah.
The man could play. So I'm sorry to see him go. I know a lot of people were just struck dumb when they learned that he died. It's kind of sad,
It
but
is. I saw so much love for him, man. And I think he won like 11 NBA championships. I was
yes,
like, that's incredible. Oh my goodness.
he he pushed the envelope, and when he retired, everyone was just saddened, because I mean he's not just a Hall of Famer. He was 5-time the most valuable player and 12-time All-Star.
Wow.
Nobody has those numbers. I
Yeah.
mean, really, truly, everyone competes for doing a three-pointer now and some other stuff, but he set the tone and the record of what a great ball player should be. And it's just unreal. It's just unreal. I never got to see him. Growing up, I never saw him play, because I just, at that time I wasn't interested in basketball, but now I am. So I mean, it's
Mhm.
just, but I know who he was, and I see reruns. If you go on YouTube, you can see a few things. So
Right.
it's kind
Right.
of sad, but I'm sorry to see him go. Moving on to another icon, Will Smith.
Yeah.
I guess I won't say icon. Well, no, I take that
Oh,
back. Yeah,
he's an icon.
he he's an icon for what not to do in an upsetting moment.
Yeah,
Let's put
that's
it like
true
that.
also. That's true also.
So I mean, for it only takes, what is the saying, that it takes a lifetime to achieve greatness, but it only takes a few seconds to destroy it. Will Smith is the best example of destruction
Yeah.
and regretting a slip that could last a lifetime, or at least a world of hurt. And if anyone doesn't remember what Will Smith did during the Oscars this year, when Chris Rock made a comment about his wife, I forgot what his wife said.
It was a G.I. Jane 2 joke.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Chris Rock made a G.I. Jane joke about Jada Pinkett, and it was not accepted well. And he went up and smacked Chris Rock live on television, which is kind of sad. But he did what he did, and he released a videotape apology to Chris Rock about it. And I really truly, the slap occurred in March, and this is July.
Yeah.
And I think he's regretting what happened, and I don't think the impact of what happened, he didn't feel that hurt until now. And I think he's now feeling really regret and really what have you. And he's trying to reach out across the waters and blah, blah, blah. And, but I think it's, he says it's all fuzzy. He doesn't remember too much, but he's apologizing. And I think it's too little too late. I mean, he made Chris Rock's career. So, he's got sold out shows all over the place. But I think Will is going to take some time for him to recover from this. I think in his best interest, he should just maybe go away for a little while, write a book, contemplate, and come back, with a project of his own making.
I just hope someday Chris Rock accepts his apology, and the two men, they can just talk it out. I mean, I know if there's an interview or whatever, it's probably gonna have huge ratings and all that stuff. But I just hope now that Will just reached out and did a public apology, I hope Chris Rock can someday forgive him, because Chris Rock doesn't have to accept his apology, and by all means he wouldn't have to. But I just hope someday Chris Rock can be the bigger man and accept it, because I just feel Will Smith, he came out, he apologized, he was a man about it and all this stuff. And I just hope this whole mess can be behind us and everything, because it's a shame, because Will Smith is a great talent, and I would hate to I would hate for this to be his legacy, because he's done such good work in the past. I mean, he finally won a Best Actor Oscar, for Pete's sake. So yeah. I just hope this isn't his legacy.
I unfortunately, he's going to live with this for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
He and Chris Rock will. Yeah. Will be remembered as the guy who slapped someone on the Oscars. Chris Rock will be remembered as the guy who got slapped at the Oscars.
Yeah.
They're both victims of an action, unfortunately. But I think if Will comes out of it with a positive viewpoint, he'll come out stronger and maybe even a better person for it.
Yeah.
This might be hitting a little bottom for him.
Yeah.
But out of this, he can maybe turn it into something creative, whether it be rap, whether it be singing, whether it's going out and painting some stuff or whatever. I think he needs to take what has occurred, internalize it in a very productive way, creatively, and maybe shock the world with something so positive that we will say all right, well, you're the man. You know how to turn something from lemonade into, something from something bitter into lemonade or something like that.
Yeah. Right.
So I'm just hoping for the best.
Right.
Also, what has happened, as you know, there were a number of primaries around the country. Ohio had the second, I would say, part 2 of their primary last night. A lot of it was deciding who was going to run in whatever district. I mean, it was very confusing for some people because the district that they're used to voting for that's not their district anymore. I know I went to vote in the primary. I didn't even have anyone to vote for. Well, no, I take that back. I voted for one person. And I'm in Catherine Ingram's district, where I never was in her district before. So I think that's interesting. And, you now know who's running on the Republican side, who's running on the Democrat side. So we'll just have to see what happens. I think the good part about the primary is that even though not a lot of people turned out.
Yeah, they said it was 8%. I was like, wow, that's single digits. I said, Jesus, I'll at least get into double digits.
No, because the original primary was in May, and everyone turned out for that.
Right.
Now you have this one, and they're like, why? But there wasn't a lot of campaigning for this one either, if you notice.
True.
And there are a lot of people were not opposed. So I think that was the best part about this primary. There were a couple of races on the Republican side where you had opposition, and not as much on the Democrat side, because everyone they have their one candidate, we're going with it, boom. And I think everyone's starting to gear up for is the general election. And I think we're going to see there's potential for everyone to win and there's potential for everyone to lose, depending on who turns out. And I'm just going to encourage everyone to turn out and vote this November, because it's very important that your voice is heard. Even if you don't think checking a box is important, it is important. And I think with the way the country is going with the January 6th hearing, those who believe in Donald Trump's lies and everything else, they're getting in positions that could have, sort of stopped the 2024 election. I think we need to be prudent in who we're electing to protect our democracy, because it's more than just belonging to a party ideology or who your favorite person is winning. It's about the health of the country. And if we want to maintain what we like, then we need to step up and preserve our Constitution and our country over politics.
Right.
So that's what I believe, and that's going to be my mantra from now on. Of, we're more than just who's running for school board. We're more than running for who's the mayor of our city, or our state rep at the state house, or in the Congress or the Senate. It's about who is speaking up for us and maintaining the Constitution, and who is willing to do their job and uphold the laws of the country and not change them because you lost, or not change them because you don't like the fact that the color of the country is changing and doesn't look like you anymore and you're scared of it. But anyway, so that being said, the best part of the chocolate news for today, Beyonce released her new album called Renaissance.
It's so good.
And it is good. And I'm not a big Bey fan, but I do have the Lemonade album.
Which is one of the best albums of all time.
Yes, it is.
I don't know if that's a hot take or not, but it really is.
I think the Lemonade album told some truth for Beyonce, because at that time that was a lot of heartache. And basically through her album, she let her husband know, I can keep you or I can drop you. And I think she had some hard truth, and I think Jay-Z got some hard truth out of seeing that album created, and he learned a lot. But I think with Renaissance, she's sort of doing what Silk Sonic did, taking a step back. And Silk Sonic has the success of going back to that sound that everybody loved, which was after the height, or the early height, of rock and roll. We got the 70s sound and disco, but also the development of house music. And I think what Beyonce has done is she's, Renaissance. She's dipped in the Chicago house music sound, and she's done a little bit of disco, because you hear a little bit of Donna Summer in there. I mean, it's very exciting. I mean, I was rocking to the beat, if I can say that still. It's a good album.
It really is.
It really is. And I mean, and for those of you out there, you can get it streaming, CD, and believe it or not, you can get it on vinyl.
Oh, yeah.
When I was ordering the album to at least download onto my phone, it was saying that I could pre-order a vinyl copy of her album. It will come out in September. So, record players are coming back. So if you want to play it on a record player, for those of you who may not know what a record player is, it's that an album originally is a round disc that you put on a player and play, unlike a CD where you pop it into a thing and play. But, vinyl's coming back, and it's going to be on vinyl in September. So, I think that's talking about going back. I think it's fantastic. So
it really is.
But that is the chocolate news for today.
Well, thank you, Andria, for coming on and discussing all of that good chocolate news.
You're welcome.
And folks, you can find more information about today's topics and past podcast episodes at www.thecincinnatiherald.com, the newsletter, or on our social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And I also want to thank the Ohio Lottery again for sponsoring this episode. The Ohio Lottery, keep it fun, Ohio, play responsibly. And make sure to subscribe to our podcasts on your favorite podcast app, Our podcast is on Apple, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, Amazon, YouTube, and Google Podcasts. I'm John Alexander Reese, and have a good day.